Hey guys, welcome to part 3 of my chat with Sohrab Khushrushahi, aka Sohfit. In this part, we dig into how nutrition is often something we overthink and how to truly look at fitness for yourself and how it's such a core part of taking a pause. All that's what's coming up on this part of my chat with Sohrab. If you haven't caught parts 1 and 2, make sure you do. And don't forget to hit subscribe and smash that bell icon right away. Another core part, which I feel is often spoken about, I mean, much lesser than it needs to. I think it's finally getting a voice out there, is community, right? The more you find yourself in a community of people who want to stay fit, the more you also want to make this. That's where the fun comes from. One of the core things, and you mentioned this, right, is that switch for me was that when I became part of a core community. I remember when we did the strength program, and I'm like, it was almost like you were competing in a fun way. And every day there was a thing and there would be banter, but you'd also kind of see how much everybody was doing. You're pushing each other to kind of do this right. You're also pushing each other. You're also not like putting someone down when they don't do it right. And I feel there's something so positive about a community focused on fitness that is so underrated, but it is one of the best things you can have. I know that's been a core focus for you since you started Sohfit. What do you think the best elements of building a fitness community are? Because if you want to build that circle around you to make sure that you stay on this lifestyle, where do you kick that off from?
I mean, community goes to the very core of Sohfit. It's when some of my closest friends, even today, are the boys I used to work out with. Because I was explaining this to someone the other day. The feeling of training with someone where you just let go and you have fun and you don't have any inhibitions, you're just training, you're going up against your buddy, you can develop some really serious good bonds with those people because suddenly you have something in common, right? For me, community is very important. I don't think Sohfit would be where it is. I don't think I would be where I am today if we didn't focus on the community. Uh, I think the one thing I saw missing when I came back to India from Singapore uh, was the gyms were still the same. Right? You went into a gym, you had someone who was serious about their training and was doing it, someone who just came in there to chat and socialize, someone
Yeah.
who was a mixture of both. But you didn't really have connections. You didn't really have friends. You didn't really have someone you can go talk to, or someone you can
Mm.
discuss or bounce ideas off, and then do a workout together and help each other out. And that's very very prevalent outside India, right? When I lived in Singapore, that was just
Mm.
like a norm. People would go jog together, they'd go cycle together, they'd go train together. Everything kind of happened together, and I felt that you became more accountable when you were doing it with
Mm.
someone else as opposed to when you're doing it alone. Because when you're doing it alone, you can say, "Chal, I'll start tomorrow," or "Let's do it day after,"
Yeah.
or "next Monday," and that Monday never comes, right? In When you're doing it with someone else, there is no tomorrow. You can't ditch them all the time, right? At some point, they will give you a kick. But my point is, I wanted to create a bunch of, I wanted to bring together a bunch of people who enjoyed fitness, uh, who enjoyed training, who would be there
Mm.
for you on a really crappy day and would celebrate with you when you were having a great day. And to me, I think
Mm.
that was very, very important. I mean, I can't even stress the importance that having that tribe, having that community gives you in your own fitness journey, right? That journey can be a very lonely
Yeah.
place. And if you don't have the right kind of people supporting you and walking through with you, it could get really lonely. So that's what we wanted to do. I think community was awesome. It was a very simple example we had the other day. We've trained now. You've been on one of our programs. We have people on WhatsApp groups together. There's a bunch of girls
Mm.
who've been training on the same WhatsApp group for the last year together, never seen each other,
Mm.
stay in different parts of the US. They just went last weekend to Vegas together for a girls' night, 20 of them. I mean,
That's
what
so
more
cool.
can you want? What more can you ask for? That is They've
Yeah.
never met each other. They've only spoken to each other on WhatsApp. They've gone for a Vegas girls trip together. Hats off to them. Yeah, I absolutely loved it.
Mm.
That to me was a high point as far as Sohfit is concerned.
Yeah, and then also like I think one of the things that's really happened, I feel especially since the we all had to move online to doing this, is that you now in many ways, while you took away the physicality of being in the same space together, it's suddenly made this like a global community, right? You can have people in different countries, different places, but you all kind of connect on a few singular things. Um, do you find that tricky to balance if you have people from different parts of the world? I mean, a core part of that is because on one end you're focusing on the core fundamentals, but you're also running something that is bringing people together. You have to gauge that. How much do you have to balance your own head between coach and entrepreneur, if that's the balance which is there, which you kind of do both? How do you find that balance?
That's I'm always a coach. I leave the entrepreneurship to my wife. I'm very lucky I have her as my business partner. And she knocks sense into me from time to time. But you know what I've kind of realized, Varun, over time is I'm not a moral police. I don't tell people what to do, what to say, how to talk. That is not my job. Yes, I don't want
Mm.
anyone kind of getting abusive or anyone being rude to
Yeah.
anybody, and that's when I will step in. But otherwise, let people be. We're amazing people. I mean, all human beings are amazing. Give them an opportunity to go mingle with someone else, and you see a different side to them. So even on these groups,
Mm.
we just let them have fun. We want them to create those bonds. We want them to talk, even if they talk rubbish, it's fine. I mean, they're not offending anybody.
Yeah.
They're just fooling around. They're having a good time.
Yeah.
They're making fun of each other. Big deal. So who doesn't make fun of someone? So for me,
Exactly.
I love being the coach. I love seeing them, get along. I love it when they correct each other. I love it when they're there for each other because that's what I want. I want people
Mm.
to connect. I want people from different parts of the world to connect. We are in such a lonely place. I mean, the pandemic made us realize that even more, right? Now we're all kind of sitting in our own
Yeah.
homes in front of our own screens. Come on, go out there and get to know new people. I mean, my biggest life experiences and everything I've learned in my life is from the people I've met. It's not from what I've studied in the
Mm.
books, right? Like out of syllabus, let's use that as a line. Everything I've kind of
Yeah.
learned has been from the people I've met. It's not from my books.
Yeah.
And I think you become richer in experience after you meet more people and you interact with more people. And that's what I want these people to
Mm.
understand. Different cultures, different people, different backgrounds, different health goals. It's just working together. It's amazing. For me, it's beautiful.
And I think that one common factor, I think, between all of us, beyond the fact that we all look at fitness maybe sometimes in different ways because of our backgrounds, is how we look at food. I feel what unites all of us is that we have overthought food way more than anything else. What are you putting on that plate? How are you measuring? I think that discussion is like it's never ending. Also, and I remember that was the first chat you and I had when I called you and I said I'm an ectomorph. I don't put on weight and I don't want to figure out how to do this. And you were like, how are you so sure? Like you literally said, okay, don't go into categories. Just focus on what you need to kind of eat and keep it simple. But we do overthink nutrition, don't we? Although it's quite simple if you look at it.
We overthink everything. That's what human beings do, right? Um, in my life, okay, the one thing I've learned is the simpler you keep it, the easier it is to follow. The easier it is to follow, the more consistent you will be. The more consistent you are, the more results you will see. It's it's
Mm,
that simple, right? I remember. I don't know. I don't know who told me this, but I remember someone told me to stick to the KISS principle, which is keep it super simple. If you do that in life with food, with your training, with your work, with everything, things will happen. I think
mm,
fitness has been complicated where everyone's trying to be the new thing, everyone's trying to introduce the new cool thing when the old methods work. And there's a reason they
yeah.
work because they've been done over and over again. even with food, all these fancy new diets and this and that. Simple things work. Go back, have your fruits and vegetables, eat your meat, balance your plate out, don't cut out on your carbs, don't starve yourself. It works. It's just that simple and it will always work.
Because we also know what's healthy and what's not, right? Innately, I think we all know if what we're eating is healthy or not. It's just finding that balance for yourself by just trying things out. Like, um, I remember just the how you look at your plate, and I remember this clearly, is that you just look at your plate and saying how much of that is vegetables, how much of that is carb, how much of that is protein. Just measure that out. I felt that was the simplest way to look at it versus, okay, let me just overthink every single meal, um, give myself a hard time when I cheat, because we will all cheat. I mean, you cannot not have a cheat meal from time to time, but it's just, again, that guilt. Although you do want to do it and you will end up doing it, that guilt that rides over, and then you let the guilt take over and say, see, I can't be disciplined with this anyway.
No, you gotta enjoy it. I mean, for me, I think uh, I've never gotten upset with people when they go out and eat what they want to. I think every human being should, but don't drive yourself crazy, right? If you've eaten something, enjoy it, right? There's no point saying, I've eaten this, now I'm going to feel bad about it and no this. No, you've eaten it, enjoy it, right? Enjoy every moment in life. Life's too short. It's too short to sit there and kind of constantly be worried about what you've eaten. So like you said, every human being today knows exactly what is good for them and what is not good for them. Okay. Your job as a coach is to maybe remind them from time to time and let them make their own decisions. I want people to make their own decisions. How long are you going to handhold someone for the rest of their life? You can't. We can't even handhold our own kids for the rest of their life. After they're 16, 17, they want to go. They're like, dude, thank you, dad and mom. I'm out. Right? So why are you trying to handhold a bunch of 30 and 40-year-olds? It makes no sense. Give them the right information. They're all smart enough. Tell them what the right tools are and let them play around with it. And even when you want to go up there and eat that piece of cake or have that pizza or that pasta, go do it guilt free, right? Don't sit there and say, oh my God, I had a piece of pizza. So what? You had it. Now move on, right? New day, start again. Start focusing on your macros again. Eat the right kind of food. Don't worry about weighing it. Just go train, go move, get that started. Everything will happen. And the one thing I've noticed is the more you move, the better food choices you make. When you stop moving, that's when the food choices kind of go a little crazy, right? So most people mess up on a weekend. Why? Because they don't train on the weekend. They train through the week. They're good through the week. They go on the weekend, they go out and have fun, and they should. I'm totally for it. Go and have fun. You've got to do that, because if you don't do that, you'll suffer.
What's the best piece of advice you ever got, just in terms of when you were making choices in your life?
Best piece of advice I've ever got. I think I'm still waiting for it. No, I'll tell you my advice that I will never ever forget. There are two pieces of advice. I got it from Mr. Ajay Piramal. He's been my mentor since my law school days. He is someone I go to when I'm in trouble or I go to when I'm thinking about career choices. And he's always been there for me. I remember one of the first people I told that I was going to make a career switch was him. And he's been part of my partnership conversations and everything. And I thought he was going to fire me because I went to him. I said, Ajay, uncle, I just don't want to do the law anymore. Like, I thought he was going to say, what is wrong with you? Leave the whatever. He said, I'm going to be your first student. Right? That's what he told me. He said, great. When you're doing this, I'm going to be your first student. To me, that was a breath of fresh air, right? Someone who was willing to back you to kind of go follow your dreams. But he told me this. I was asking him once, and I'd already started training him when I was a lawyer, just because I used to love chatting with him, and I still do. And we went for a walk on one of our training days. And he told me something very simple. He said, Saurabh, the road less traveled with more risks is the one that's going to be more fulfilling at the end of the day, right? It's very easy to go down a road everyone goes down. It's very easy to avoid the risks and live the safe life. But if you want more reward,
Mm.
you've got to take more risk. So I took that to heart. I said, okay, then I'm going to take that risk. I'm going to take that risk on myself. And who better to kind of take a risk on than yourself? And the second thing he told me, in the same conversation, same day, we were walking, and I said, you know what, Raja uncle, what's the worst thing that happens? If this doesn't work out, I'll go back to being a lawyer. Right? That's the worst thing that's going to happen. And he looked at me and he said, you know what, Saurabh, forget about being a lawyer now. It's done. Burn that bridge, because when you have a safety net in the back of your head, you've already set yourself up for failure. When you have nothing to lose, you give it everything you have, right? So don't have that safety net. Just say, okay, this is done now. I'm not going back to this. This is my life, and I need to make whatever I need to do it. I'm going to do it. I think I've lived with that for the last 5 years. I have just never looked back at being a lawyer. And every day is just to get up, go ahead, do what needs to be done to kind of do what you need to do.
I can keep going on with this, but I genuinely always make sure that there's a clock which I have in mind for a conversation. And I always leave things for part two with all my guests. But before I close off, I want to ask you, how do you take a pause? What is taking a pause for you?
Spending time with my kids. For me, I don't need anything else. I just had a baby boy 3 months back. Just spending time with the two boys. I've always been like, I've always wanted to be a dad. Strange as that sounds. But just spending time with them, watching them laugh, watching them do their thing, and just without a care in the world. To me, I don't think I can have a better moment. So me and my son watch every cricket game together because we're both cricket buffs. If I miss the game the next day because I've been busy with work, he will come and tell me exactly what happened and who scored and who didn't. And to me, that's life. Yeah, there's nothing more to life. All this other stuff that we do around, doing well and working and being really busy. I think just being with your kids is amazing.
I couldn't agree more with that. I literally, before we hit record on this one, had to go and tell Leia that I'm going to do a recording. I'll be back with 1 hour. We're going to have our. I generally spend time with her before she goes down to play in the building, and I was like, 1 hour I'm going to be there, which is also why I time it to the hour. So I'm on that boat as well. Thanks so much, Saurabh. Thanks for doing this. It's it was awesome, and I feel at some point there's a pace to a conversation which is always fun, and it always keeps you wanting to talk more and more. I think we'll take some of these offline, but I kind of see that this is an evolving conversation that might come back for another episode. I hope you enjoyed all 3 parts of my chat with Saurabh. If you haven't caught parts 1 and 2, then make sure you do that. Lots more conversations on this front coming up as well. So don't forget to hit subscribe and smash that bell icon.